Play it again. We're doing it.
All right.
We'll give them a couple seconds, and at the tick of the top of the hour, we don't see those metrics on here. You're logging them from elsewhere.
Yes, I am.
Okay. What is? Oh, let's pull that slide down.
Yep.
All right.
All right, folks. Welcome.
Is that the top? Is that the top of the? Is that the glockenspiel, Fred? That's ringing in the back.
Oh no.
My neighbor's got the tunes cranked behind me, so
it is top of the hour. So let's go ahead and get things going. Welcome, friends from around the world. My name is Keith Allen. Alongside me, my partners Brad Nickel and Frederick Schneider, Team Material Indicators. We've got some other partners. We'll introduce them in a moment. But first, I just got to say, we have been just absolutely overwhelmed and amazed and humbled by the response we're getting from the community. The community has grown 100% organically, and you guys are the ones that are responsible for getting us to this point, and getting us to launch at this time. You know, or even consider it. We've been trying to get here for a long time, but Fred, who is sitting quietly in the lab right now.
It's not the lab. It's the office. The lab's over there.
That's right, because you don't have your proper lab coat on. I should know, or a flask or a beaker or anything smoldering behind you. But we keep coming up with ways to enhance and improve the tools that we have, and then come up with new things that we want to analyze and find new data. And so we find ourselves in this trap of wanting to have the perfect package and have things optimized ideally before we launched. And, we got to a point where we said, we feel like we're close. We had been working on this for nearly 2 years, and, it's kind of time. But, early on, we were very reluctant to charge anybody until we really had the data to support what we were building. And safe to say that at this point we have that, and we have the full support of and encouragement of the community. pushing us to launch, begging to pay us to use the tools. And I got to tell you, we are so appreciative and so grateful for the response from you all. So thank you very, very much. Let's, of course, the reason we're here is we're getting ready to launch, and that launch is scheduled for our community, I should say. We're not doing a public launch at this time. This is all still for our community. Our community's been so good to us that, to show our appreciation, at this point, we are launching some opportunities exclusively to our Telegram community. If you're joining us on Twitter or Facebook or YouTube and you're not a member of our Telegram community, we invite you to do so. And as we get through this announcement and the AMA, you're going to understand why it's important for you to do that. And we'll also provide links for you to do that. You can, of course, do that anytime. You could go to our website at materialindicators.com and go register. Also get the links to join the Telegram community and pre-register for our launch. So the launch clock has started ticking. Let's actually go take a look and see. Let me see if I can pull up the launch clock and see exactly where we are in the process. Hold on a second. I know where I can find it. I can find it right here on materialindicators.com. We'll go to the MI blog, and let me share this screen with you guys, and we'll take a look at the countdown clock and see exactly where we are. Let's see. And by the way, we're new to this technology, launching this live feed for you. So bear with us as we work our way through it. Okay, can you guys see my screen?
Yep.
All right. Oh, look at that. There's the countdown. 3 days, 3 hours, and 45 seconds. Why this time, you might ask? Well, because we like data and analytics and metrics, our data is telling us that this is the most, our community is spread out all over the world. Literally, just on registration for this event, we've got like over 35, 36 countries represented. So we have people in time zones all over the place. The 11 a.m. Eastern time hour seems to be the highest engagement hour on Telegram. So we're trying to, split the difference and accommodate as many people as we possibly can. By the way, when you get to the website, you would read this in the blog, and there's the pre-registration form right there. It's very, very simple. It literally takes less than a minute for you to do it. So we encourage you to do that. If you haven't done so yet, it is going to be imperative if you want to gain access to our tools. So, Fred, Brad, it's been a long time coming to get here. Brad, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about the other members of the team?
All right, so the three of us are here. Keith and Brad, we've been partnered together for a number of years. And then we have Fred, the material scientist behind Material Indicators, who is actually a real scientist, but also an excellent trading scientist. The other two members of our team are Dr. Stephen Browdy, who also has about 20, 25 years of development experience and is helping us on the back end with developing the system. And Austin Gaines, who is a successful business owner and has been helping us on project management, helping us with legal and business development. And then we have Nina, who's also helped us by building out our brand and our website, doing graphic design and website development for us. So we have a really awesome team. Everybody's been chipping in, working really hard, a lot of long hours, not getting a lot of sleep, but it's a great team.
Sleep is overrated. We'll get there.
What's the line? You can sleep when you die. I just hope it's not sooner than later because of lack of sleep.
No doubt. And so we did touch on the point, and we're going to hammer this a couple times, through this live stream, that we are launching to our community on Wednesday in order to be eligible to gain access, paid access to our tools and indicators. Two things need to happen. You need to be a member of our community, which is free and very easy. Join us on Telegram if you haven't done so already. Most of you probably have already done that. That's how you found out about this. And number two, you need to pre-register at materialindicators.com. So how about a little bit of a backstory? Brad and Fred, you guys are kind of the genesis of how we got started. Why don't you take us through, how this all began, how Material Indicators was born?
Well, I was, I guess it was on Twitter one day, right, Fred? And some
Hang
guy
on,
was
one second, Brad. You're like overmodulating, getting really, really loud in there. So if you could just back down your mic level a little bit, or back away from it a little bit.
I can do that. Is that any better?
That is beautiful.
Excellent. Was on Twitter one day and looking at a lot of different trading posts, and saw some guy had tweeted about somebody getting totally wrecked, and this guy called Material Scientist had replied to him and said, if he'd been using my indicators, he wouldn't have gotten wrecked. Something along those lines. I said, okay, I like that attitude, and I'm looking for tools. So let me see what this guy's got. Messaged him on TradingView. I was just going back the other day through our message history, Fred. It's pretty crazy. Messaged him on TradingView. He gave me access to the indicators as they were at the time. And then we spent a lot of hours going back on a lot of versions of those indicators over and over and over again. You had things that looked like blocks. We had things that changed on a regular basis, changing the algorithm and how it functioned. So a good 2 years of back and forth and brainstorming. And then we brought the community in, and everybody started giving us feedback and thoughts and ideas. And that just helped keep making things better and better and better. So I don't know, what was your perspective from your side, Fred?
Well, I started out with this whole scripting stuff in 2017. Back then I didn't have a lot of programming experience either, so I was just, trying a lot of trial and error, and I just didn't like, how everyone accepted that things were just the way they were, and I thought I could, take a different approach and just really try to understand what's happening instead of creating arbitrary tools. And at some point you noticed what I was doing, and you contacted me, and from your perspective it looked great, but from my perspective I'm never really happy with my work. I'm super critical of what I'm doing, and it seemed, after a few versions, it seemed good enough, and that's when we decided, why not make this a company and offer these tools to other people as well.
Yep, exactly. And that it's been a great process, and we're having a lot of fun. We're making a lot of new friends. So
I'm glad that in the early days that Fred didn't listen to his mom when she said, "Don't talk to strangers," and
especially this one.
Right. No, it's been amazing. Brad, actually, I guess we should note that Brad and I and Austin and Steve are in the United States, and Fred is far, far away from us.
Yeah, I'm actually located in Switzerland here.
And Brad took his family on the pilgrimage.
Yep.
And went and visited Fred last year, and that kind of solidified things. Was great. And what has been amazing to watch through this process, Fred, is from my perspective, is you share tools with us, you share ideas with us, we kick it around, and we all, I think one common denominator between us all is we're all curious. We all have the thirst for knowledge. We're all data junkies. We all want to try and figure out. It wasn't a matter of, for me anyways, trying to game the market. It was more like trying to figure out why things are happening.
Exactly.
Why are these things happening? And what could tip us off to what's going to happen next, or what happened last, how can we use the data to help us? But the really amazing thing to me is the way that your mind works, how you see things, and how quickly you're able to, when your mind is set on it, how quickly you're able to spit something out, not a finished product, obviously, but a rough idea to say, Fred would share these these scratched out notes on a notepad that were almost impossible to decipher. And 2 days later, he goes, "Hey guys, let's have a quick call. I want to show you something." And next thing we know, Fred's got another tool in his quiver that, well, some of those we'll be getting to later. Our focus,
lots of cool stuff coming. I'm excited.
Yeah. Our focus, of course, over the past 2 years has been Fred's first indicator that he shared was the trend precognition, and we'll get into all these in a moment. The MTF, mean reversion indicator, and of course, the thing that everybody is buzzing about, the fire charts with CVD that is, quite frankly, reshaping the way that I trade, and I think a lot of us are now using the tools. Before we get too deep, guys, I just again want to take a moment to thank our community for everything that they have done for us to date, and for the support and the love and encouragement that they've shown us. And I want to identify or acknowledge a couple of members of the community who have really gone the extra mile for us. Brad, Fred, you want to fire off any names?
There are a couple, actually. I don't have a list.
Do we need to keep them anonymous or?
Nah. Look, I think the superhero of the community and the guy who gives countless hours till the wee hours of the morning is Oni. He is absolutely awesome. He gets it. He's been with us from really early on. And we are incredibly grateful for the work he puts in and everything he's done.
And just so you guys know, Oni is, we're on the East Coast and Oni's on the West Coast. There's a 3-hour time difference, which is convenient for you guys who are requesting charts while Brad and I and Fred are getting some sleep. But Oni does this just as a volunteer. And because he likes what we do, and he's a good guy, and he likes helping people out. So be appreciative when he is helping you out with those on-demand requests for charts in the middle of the night.
Yeah, shout out to Oni.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Bogdan and Michael, kind of behind the scenes, have been helping us quite a bit. Both of those guys have great coding and product development experience. Bogdan, I know, has been helping you a lot with the back end stuff. And then Michael, who's created some really cool scripts for us, including some that are helping us test our infrastructure, so that as we onboard you guys, we know that we can actually handle the folks that we onboard. We're messing with a lot of data, and that's critical. As well as he created an automation script that works beautifully for setting up the indicators. And that's not Michael.
No, that's not Michael. I'm trying to get that to the overlay. How do I get that overlay up, Brad, and hide us for a second?
You go. Is it in the overlay section?
It's in the background section.
Yeah, so it's not going to work in the background section. You got to add it up at the top to overlay.
Okay.
Or share it as an image.
Let me see if it'll let me do that. We can continue, but
yeah. So go ahead.
No, you go ahead, and I'm going to see if I can figure this out.
Okay, so Fred, why don't we dive quickly into a brief overview of each of the products, if you like, starting with Trend. Do you want to kind of go through the thoughts behind that and what it does and how it works and some of the things people need to be aware of when using it?
Well, there are several ways in which you can approach the market. One of which is just looking at the trend. Is something sloping up, or is something sloping down? Is it in a downtrend? And this is kind of the big picture, right? And then, I like to do it on high time frames, such as weekly, monthly, sometimes even annual time frames. But some people don't have the patience for this and want to really keep trading all the time, and that's where MTF comes in. MTF is a scalping tool that you can use to identify oversold conditions and try to get a few percent here and there to satisfy your trading desires. And then finally, fire charts, as we like to call it, is actually a combination of the transient order book, so the order book over time, and the cumulative volume delta, which shows you how many market buys or market sells occurred. And I mean, it's the volume, the net volume of each market buy and sell. And additionally, we've also filtered it with several volume ranges, so you can actually identify who bought and who sold. And together, you can use this tool. I mean, this order book tool and the CVD tool to identify support and resistance, as well as the market sentiment. You know, there's no point in trying to knife catch if you see that there's heavy selling volume and it might not, bounce at that point.
Fred, why
So-
don't you share a screen and you can maybe speak to that a little bit better, just in terms of what you're looking at.
So let me share the screen. Can you guys see my screen?
Oh, I'll add it. Well, it
You
should.
probably got to pull out the overlay.
Oh no, you got to pull the overlay out. Hold on.
Okay, here.
Okay, there we go.
No, there we go. Okay. So what you see here is the fire charts. And in the top layer here, you see the order book, where you can see support and resistance. And in the bottom part, you see the cumulative volume delta that you can actually switch from normalized to absolute units. So you can see that in the last 24 hours, the low was at $7.5 million. But what's really interesting about this is you can identify who is buying and who is selling. So in this case, leading up to this pump here was actually the class of $100,000 to $1 million that was buying. And in blue, you can see, if we deselect all of these, the total CVD, meaning the cumulative volume delta of all orders. And
Folks,
this-
just so you know what you're looking at, this is actually the live web app. Everything that we've shared with you to date in the channel has either been a snapshot, a frame grab from the earlier iteration of the chart, and when you make those requests for that range of, so the one that comes up every 2 hours it looks a little bit different than this. And Fred can explain the difference, but this version is the web app version. This is what we'll be licensing as part of the suite. And Fred, you can, maybe explain how this works and, what it excels at and what the limitations are at this stage.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so you may know the hourly or the bi-hourly charts. Let's see if I can find one. Such as this one, right? So this one is the exact same data. We just show a higher range to give you a bird's eye view every 2 hours, to see how orders changed way outside the active price range. And this is also capped at a minimum of $2 million and a maximum of $8 million, just to highlight bigger orders. Whereas the live web app goes from 0 to maximum. So you still see the same data, and you can actually, still zoom out here and see orders going up to 16,000, or it actually, this is just a limitation that I've set, but it actually goes up to almost $1 million.
Hey,
And-
Fred, I this wasn't planned, but I'm just you have a live BTC chart up right now, and I'm noticing that support seems to be thinning, and the CVD is looks to be on a pretty vertical descent. What's that tell us?
Well, yeah, I mean, as you would expect, if support breaks, especially if there's nothing below, as you can clearly see on this chart here, this is not a position or not a level where I would like to buy, because there's a lot of downside risk, right? One large order could tank the entire market down to 10K. And that's exactly what Firecharts is for. It's for risk management. You can gauge, whether you want to enter this position, or where you want to, sit on the sidelines, or where you want to exit even. And I think that's really great, and I wouldn't be trading without it anymore.
Yeah, I told Fred this early on, like as he was in development, before we even had a color chart. Okay, when we were on a static grayscale chart, the data was that valuable that anytime Fred would like be taking down the server or so that he could do some work, I would be freaking out. I'm like, Fred, I gotta. I can't trade without it. I got to have it. And so once you start using this tool, and for those of you who have been requesting those charts through the day, you know how valuable that data is, and what confidence it gives you in your decisions. I boil it down to this: fire charts let you replace speculative decisions with data-driven decisions. Simple as that. You have a window to the order book. You can see what's happening. And because Fred had the foresight to bin the CVD in the way that he did, let's face it, we all don't have the bags to trade like whales. But this certainly helps us see what they're doing, so you can swim with the pod.
Let me actually show you how the CVD is useful on especially large time frames. So let's go to 3 years here, where you see the Bitcoin history for the last 3 years. And at the bottom, you see the normal CVD. So this is in absolute units. And it doesn't really tell you a lot. I mean, there's just buying a lot. And then here's a descent in CVD. But how can you use this predictively? How can you gain an edge from the CVD? Well, if you normalize it, then you see all these whale orders that are small in absolute terms, but they really try to tank the market at the top of 14K, and conversely, they aggressively bought after the fire sale earlier this year in March.
The COVID crash.
Yeah, and using this data, you can really gain some confidence in your positions, or have some different perspectives, and really try to manage your risk.
It's a fantastic tool, no doubt about it. Everybody loves it, and this is this is release 1. So there are plans to do more to enhance this web app.
Yes, so currently there are a few limitations, such as if we go to the daily time frame, this data only updates every 5 to 10 minutes, because it's still being pulled through API data, REST API data. And there are so many pairs that we just run into API rate limitations. But for the second version, I plan to switch this out with WebSockets, so that we are closer to real time.
All right. So for anybody wondering, if you subscribe to this tool at the moment, it is not going to be a live streaming feed. It does update, like Fred said, every 5 to 10 minutes, and you can refresh the chart in between those time frames. But because it's such an enormous amount of data, sometimes it takes a few minutes for the price line to catch up to the heat map, or vice versa.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Fred, since you're screen sharing and walking us through, would you mind taking a quick run at the various iterations of trend precognition?
The various iterations?
Yeah, well, because we have the on-chart version and the off-chart version.
So let's see. So this is the default trend recognition setup that I normally use, and I mean it's been great for actually the predicting the bottom reversion back in 2018, December 2018, and I mean, as you can see here in this region here, there were very few signals and there was no confliction at all. It only signaled right at the very top and signaled at the very bottom here. But as you can see, trend recognition is not so great when the market is in chop, when there's no clear long-term trend, and that's where we are right now. It's just been chopping since July 19, at least on the high time frame, and so there are actually 3 panels here. So the top panel shows you only the signals that meet your threshold. So if you double click here, we can see that the threshold for this indicator are 24% agreement between all the iterations, whereas for the cell threshold, there's a 30% probability, so that the chart is not littered with signals. But if you still want to see all the signals, then that's where the middle panel comes in, where you see all the probabilities. So here's small probabilities that this was the bottom, and there are small probabilities that this was a top signal. And as we approach the actual bottom, these probabilities grow, and whereas here these probabilities of being a top grow as well. And finally, it printed a signal because it exceeded our threshold. Then on the bottom panel, you see a different algorithm of trend recognition. So there's actually 3 of them, A1, A2, and A2+. The bottom one is A1, and it's the only one that you can actually use sort of predictively, where you see the blue line as being representative of the price action. And whenever this black line, which is the slope, so the first derivative of the blue line, is close to reaching 0, close to crossing 0, that means it's likely to print another signal at that point. And you can use this predictively, in combination with other tools, such as your own technical analysis or other indicators, to make a decision on what you want to trade and how you want to trade it.
Great, thank you, thanks for that. And MTF, we talked about that, and if you want to show the chart, we can speak to it a little bit more. It is obviously a mean reversion tool. So MTF identifies potential buy zones, and now that we have fire charts to work with it, a lot of people use MTF differently. You can use it to automate a bot. You can send those signals straight to an automated bot on 3Commas or wherever else you're automating your trading. But I like to use it as kind of a screening tool. Shows me potential opportunities. And so, with some days when it's really volatile, we have hundreds and hundreds of signals coming in. I don't know about you, but I don't have the bags to trade every single signal. If you're going to do that, either you need to have big bags or make very small trades.
We thought you were funding this whole thing, Keith. What happened, man?
That's right. I'll be taking my kids' lunch money. So a lot of us are now using MTF to kind of screen up, identify potential opportunities, lay it up next to the fire chart and see if we're near support, see what resistance is. And so you can then, pick your opportunities and your targets with much better data rather than speculating on where you think it's going to go. Fire charts give you the data to really make an educated assessment.
Yeah, it does, and I think it's important to understand that these are knife catching, mean reversion, whatever you want to call them, and so obviously a lot of these are dropping at the time that we try to catch the bottom with it. But it's obviously something you have to be careful about. And while we have some numbers we'll go over here in a minute reflecting the history of trading with MTF, it definitely can result in a lot of small trades where you're gaining 1.25% on a pretty regular basis. And as well, if you are using fire charts with it, being able to determine that a trade is going to go higher and staying with it longer, because there are some that can go upwards of 100% in very short time frames. So it's kind of a crazy range with this tool, but it's definitely something important. Other thing I want to point out is if you're on TradingView and you know someone that doesn't just trade crypto or doesn't trade crypto at all, these tools also work with anything else that's available on TradingView, stocks, commodities, whatever it might be. So let me quickly show another screen here. So these are a couple of trades with Tesla in the last week or so. Obviously minimal or less profits, but still in a very short period of time. We often have averages of a few hours to get to 1.25% with these trades, and probably sit around the 2 to 2.5 day range for the max profit on these signals. This one I'm about to show is an interesting one from some news last week, or at the beginning of this week, when Nikola's founder resigned. It obviously took a plummet early Monday morning, but then resulted with the MTF indicator of catching the bottom perfectly and hitting 22.62% in about 21 minutes. Again, these are still very dangerous. Nikola may not have recovered from that, but I just wanted to give you some examples of the fact that if there's a particular stock that you watch and that you want to be able to buy into on dips and make some profits on and or hold, MTF can also be good for helping you find the opportunities in stocks or other securities that you want to trade.
Yes, indeed. And we don't have the metrics on equities like we have on crypto, because we have been, we've kind of built it around crypto, and then, that's where we have been focused, but obviously are going to be putting more and more weight on equities as well, because it's a great tool, and it's proven that it can work there. I also want to point out to you all that you can customize these charts to look however you like in TradingView. You can stylize them. So if seeing all of the fib channels in there is overwhelming and you like a cleaner chart, you can clean that up. And I'll give you just an example of what my chart looks like, which I've left some of the channels. You guys seeing that, right?
Yep.
Okay, I've left obviously the top and bottom levels. This is 0 fib. This is 1 up top, and I've left some of the channels in the midst that I am most interested in. This gives me a bit cleaner look. I just, I like it. I like my chart a little bit cleaner. And of course, I'm on the dark mode versus light mode. It's totally a matter of personal preference, but you can customize these charts without affecting performance. The one thing that does affect performance would be your deviation settings. And we need to note that we set these charts up differently for altcoins versus BTC pairs. So, USDT pairs versus BTC pairs. So initially, the BTC version is what came out first, and we use a deviation of 6 on BTC pairs because of the volatility. But we wanted, and the reason that we came up with USDT, not just because we wanted to leverage those pairs, but we wanted something that was higher frequency so that we could get more signals when the BT signals were slow. And so this is a higher frequency setting here at 3 for the USDT pairs. And that is the primary reason that we see so many signals fire on USDT. We see more signals fire on USDT pairs than we do on BTC pairs. Historically, they have both performed very, very closely statistically. And I guess we could actually show you some of those metrics. Should we do that, guys?
Sure.
Yeah, pull up that data, man.
Okay. Well, I'm going to apologize. I was, we had to do a complete rebuild of the website here the other day. Thank you, Brad, for that. And if you guys, Phil, while I pull this up, I'm roughing together a new page, by the way. So,
real quick, he's pulling up the stats on what MTF has done historically for us and the data we've been tracking. As he said, as Keith mentioned earlier, there are an astronomical number of signals that come in. For example, the other day, we, on the last kind of dump that occurred, we had well over 1,000 just USDT pairs come in a 24-hour period. Some days we can have 5 signals, and some days we have more. So that makes it complex to manage what you're going to trade. We know that a lot of folks will filter out the signals that they trade based on their bot setups if they're using 3 commas. We have another really cool announcement coming up soon with another partner for an integration, and with those tools will make it easier for you to determine the tokens or coins or pairs that you prefer to trade and keep an eye on, as opposed to trying to catch every signal that comes in. As Keith said, even at Binance's minimum of $10 a trade, you'd be well over 10 grand on a busy day. So it can suck up your portfolio there pretty quickly. So Keith, can you want to scroll that up?
Yeah, and I've just been roughing this page in. It's not completely done yet, but I want to show you some of these numbers. And between now and launch day on Wednesday, we'll add more data to this.
We can tell you just did it, since our dates have been analyzed.
Right.
I don't even want to know what was on your mind. Okay.
I can't even go there. Yes, that's beautiful.
That's a classic. Okay. So USDT's on the left, Keith. Okay. Yeah. So let's just take the USDT side of things. 26,000 signals from June of 2019 to September of 2020. So you can see that's a pretty significant number of signals that come in. When you average max profit over 5 days, the average max profit, again, these are averages. You can't make trading decisions based on averages, but we just want to give you a sense of what the data can do. The average is 13.14%. The average max drawdown before it gets to that 13.14% is 4.66%. Out of the trades that executed, the alerts that executed, 95.29% at least get to 0.75% with a 1.84% drawdown. Kind of the sweet spot that I like to play with when I'm trading is that 1.25% range. And we have about 92.65% of those get to 1.25% with an average drawdown of 2.39%.
And worth noting, Brad, that the reason that's a target that we're monitoring, and the 5-day is because the idea here was to, number one, identify potential buy zones, but to identify what is has a high mathematical and historical probability of being reached relatively easily and quickly. And so that, and we have a 5-day max on it because we want to be able to turn that capital and keep turning capital. And so that's why we're looking at these ranges. This is not a tool to figure out whether you should buy, I delineate the difference between being an investor and a trader. This is a trader's tool.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Continue.
So, for example, to that point, the average time or duration of a trade to get to 1.25% on these MTF alerts is about 1 hour and 30 minutes. So that is the average time across all those trades that those, I don't know, whatever it is, 23 or 24,000 trades got to 1.25%. They do that in about 1 hour and 30 minutes. At the 2.5, I did
On
2.5%.
average.
On average.
Historically.
Average, again, important average.
And not indicative of future results.
Exactly. 2.5%, about 85% of those hit at least 2.5% with an average drawdown before they hit it at 3.36%. 5% profit, about 71% of those with a 4.21% drawdown. And a quick jump off the cliff here at 10% profit. That's reached about 44.72% of the time, with a drawdown on average of 4.82%. And let me see what the normal time frame is to hitting that 10%. It's about 1 day and 12 hours duration of a trade on average to get to 10% profit. Numbers are pretty similar on the Bitcoin side of it. I won't run through all the details because you guys have been on here for a while, but they are very similar. The data comes across about the same. And historically, we've been able to count on kind of these numbers across the coins. So this isn't just because it's over a longer term segment. The number of trades we get and alerts we get seems to be fairly consistent across month-to-month time ranges.
Yeah, and I want, for those who are watching, just to explain the difference between these two columns. Obviously different coin pairs, but this range right here of that the USDT pairs have been analyzed is through September 4th, which includes some of the more recent volatility. And my BTC analysis on this side is from an analysis that ended in June. And so initially, we saw pretty close numbers between 1.25% and 2.5%. As you see here, 1.25 was 97, almost 98%, and 2.5% was 94%. After the volatility that we had in the drawdown, the dumps that we had more recently, this 2.5% number is going to come down closer to what we're seeing over here on the longer range analysis. We're going to have this updated for you and available on the website. It's not even a public page at the moment. So we'll have this for you soon enough here. By Wednesday, it will be up, and we'll have more detail, including the average duration of these trades. So just wanted to share that with you guys to give you just a little more insight into MTF. Again, this is not trading advice, and past performance not indicative of future results, but we want you to understand the value of the tools and how you can use the data to help shape some of your own strategies.
Hey, Keith, we have a quick specific question on fire charts real quick from Sean McCarthy.
Okay.
Fred, how do you determine CVD bin size, and does it vary with coin?
Well, the bin size is static for all USDT pairs. So it goes in increments of $100 to $1,000, then $1,000 to $10,000, $10,000 to $100,000, and so in steps of times 10. And for the BTC pairs, it goes from I think 1 milli Bitcoin to 10, and the same basically up to 1,000 Bitcoin.
Great, thanks.
Thank you,
Sean. Let us know if that doesn't answer. If you had any other clarification you needed.
Okay. So guys, should we get into the big
point?
news?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So okay, come on now.
You're doing it as a background, dude.
Stop it. Stop doing that.
Overlay
I'll get there.
or share screen. Either one.
There we go. So, as you know by now, that after 2 years of development and testing, we are officially staged for launch. And that is going to happen very soon on this upcoming Wednesday, at 11 a.m. So same time, same place you're watching this stream right here. We will be having this launch event September 30th. And you can follow us on YouTube and Twitter. And we'll be posting, of course, some announcements in our Telegram channel as well. In order to be eligible for this, you, of course, need to be a member of our illustrious community, and you need to pre-register. There is still time to do so. We are offering up a limited number of licenses, and the reason for that is, we bootstrap this thing to date on a very, very modest infrastructure. So we need to scale the infrastructure to be able to accommodate more users, which we will do over time in the coming weeks and months. So if you haven't done so yet, go pre-register at materialindicators.com. Again, this opportunity is exclusively for our community who's been so good to us. And in case anybody's wondering, no, that is not Oni. But I like the coffee shop vibe of what's going on. I kind of feel like I feel like this is what our community is like, because we're just all like chatting and hanging out all day and talking trading.
Yeah.
Right.
No, it's great community. And I think that's what a lot of people have said over and over again. I was talking to another founder the other day, and they asked me, how did you guys build this community? And I said, I think it's really just about our attitude. When people first come in, we talk about respect for each other, and we talk about each of us learning from each other and collaborating to be better traders. And I think that has come across with the people who stick with the community and participate. They all, provide value to each other. And I think that's really what makes it work and why it grows.
And not full of spammers and chillers. Every once in a while, one comes in and they get nuked pretty quick.
Yep, absolutely. I killed one last night.
Me too. So, our first releases, of course, are trend precognition, our MTF mean reversion, and the fire charts. This is our first release growing suite of indicators and tools. And the burning question everybody has is, how can they put these tools to use for themselves? They are those who have been enjoying a free license for as almost 2 years for many of them for trend and MTF. And we've been serving up the on-demand fire charts here for the past couple months. Those free licenses and those on-demand charts are going to come to an end on October 15th, out of courtesy to those who are going to pay for the charts and the tools. So if you want to continue access, you need to join us on our upcoming Wednesday live auction, September 30th, exclusively for community members. We're going to have an auction for a founding members lifetime license to all of our current tools and all of our future retail products that we release. So when I say founding members license, this is not just a lifetime license to the tools that we have. This is the license that Fred, Brad, myself, Steve and Austin and Nina get as part of the team. So we have access to everything that we build, obviously, and always will. And whoever wins this auction is also going to have that same access. Obviously, data limits may apply on future products. We don't even know what those might be at this point. We've got some obviously in the hopper, but we're in this for the long haul. We're not going anywhere other than up, we hope. So again, our launch event, September 30th, live at 11 a.m., exclusively for community members. You, of course, need to be registered. So it's invitation only. For those who are registered, you're going to get an email from us that gives you some more details and walks you through the steps that you need to do to participate in the auction. The auction, of course, is for early access subscriptions. Details going to be emailed to you guys very, very soon. So how's this going to work? Because if we're auctioning off one license, how does everybody else get in? Well, there's going to be a series of onboarding events for access to our full suite of trading tools. Round one, like I mentioned, is going to be this lifetime license, founding members lifetime license to all of our current and future retail releases of trend precognition, MTF mean reversion, fire charts, and fire charts, and all future retail products released by Material Indicators, data limits, of course, may apply. To gain early access, you got to be a member of our free Telegram community. If you're watching on Twitter or YouTube or Facebook and you haven't done so yet, go to materialindicators.com and you can find a link to join our community, and you can find a link to pre-register right there. I encourage you to do so. It's the only way that you're going to get the email. If you're not pre-registered, you're not going to get the email invite to give you the details on how to do it. Make a deposit towards the payment. Now, what does that mean, and how do we accept that deposit? We're going to be accepting credit cards, and we're a crypto company, right? So at the moment, USDC and DAI are the coins that we'll accept if you want to pay in those currencies. The reason for that, obviously, the volatility of the market. We don't want to be holding your Bitcoin and it shoots up or down in either direction while we're waiting to execute the auction. So stable coins or credit card is currently your option for payment. Why do I need to make a deposit? Good question. I like the thinker right there. What do you think? Is he pondering? Why do I really need to do this?
Yeah.
So these events are for community members who believe in our tools, want to help fund our development and growth by purchasing some longer term licenses. Because we are small and we need to scale, we initially need to onboard those who are willing to give us the most support. And to give that value, we're offering these long-term licenses. We will eventually get to regular subscriptions and an opportunity. If somebody just wants to buy fire charts or somebody just wants MTF, they'll be able to do that down the road. Not sure what that date is going to be, but if you want access now and you want access to some of the offers that we will be rolling out, you need to do this. The deposit obviously is going to make sure you have some skin in the game. We're going to limit the auction to those who are really legitimately interested in paying for the access to the tools. And, it's also going to eliminate trolls who may bid with no intention of paying and skew the whole auction and mess things up. We're serious about this. If anybody, comes into the auction to play those games, places a bid and doesn't honor it, you're going to forfeit your deposit and we're going to keep the money. So I don't anticipate anybody's going to do that.
Right. I mean, the reason for the deposit is primarily to keep people from messing up the auction, right? And the reason for the auction is that we've had so many people who want to help the company grow, and so many people that really want access to this thing as soon as possible. And so the idea here is an auction gives those folks the opportunity to participate the way they really wanted to participate. And all of those folks who've been sending us GIFs that say they want to give us their money, they can. But it's real. I mean, I think I really want to emphasize that the reason for this pre-sale is so that we can grow the company. This is not something to line the team's pockets. This is something so that Fred can have all the data and resources, and the developers can have all the data and resources and servers they need in order for us to be able to scale, do things like add new exchanges, do things like add the new tools that are in the works. And so that's the reason we're doing it this way. But there, as you said, we're going to have a series of events that'll allow people to get on board with us sooner than the general public.
Hey, I'm just gonna make a sidestep here real quick because my phone is vibrating in my pocket, and let me just, as you can see, for those who are watching the market, and I'm sure that you're all watching the market, we got a little volatility happening right now, and I want to see if we can show it. BTC just making a move to like 10,746, and Whales are dumping and retail is buying. So we'll see how high this goes. But, these are the things that you can see on fire charts as they're happening. So that's
So it's taking back the dump from earlier. All right.
yeah, but some resistance coming in there. So
Yeah.
just wanted to deviate from that for a second because
Cool.
we're always watching. Yes, I think Brad expressed why we need to do this, and so then of course begs the question, what happens to my deposit if I don't win the auction? You have some options there. First option is you can apply that deposit to any number of special offers that may be floated your way in the future. You can apply it if you don't win the auction on the first event. There will be another onboarding event. It may or may not be an auction. You'll just have to wait and see what that's going to be. Or you can apply it to a retail product at a later date when we offer those. Or, of course, you can get a full refund. The only downside to that is there's whatever the transfer fee is. We're not taking any money out of that. It's just whatever the transaction fee is for sending the money back and forth. We did have an option up there too, and I think I breezed over it in the slide, that if you're more comfortable with using escrow, we're happy to do that for you, and you can. Brad, what do they need to do if they want to?
They can message me on Telegram at Brad Nickel. But also, if you do it with your, if you prefer, you can also do it with your credit card, and then you have recourse with your bank if you feel like if you feel like you want to get your refund that way. It's a lot faster. And look, we're building a company here, and we've been at this for 2 long, hard years. So we're not here to take people's deposit. We're really here to make sure the auction is fair and that we don't have people jacking around with the auction. And that's the entire intent of this. But any way you want to do it is fine with us. We're flexible to make it work for you.
Well, we know there's. Oh, there we go. That's the right slide. So how does it work? Again, you need to pre-register. If you haven't done so yet, you must pre-register at materialindicators.com. It literally takes less than a minute. Once you do that, we're going to send you an email with a link to submit your deposit. If you there's the escrow slide. If you prefer to use escrow, you can contact Brad on Telegram. After your deposit is received, you're going to get an email requesting your Telegram username, the one that you use in our community, so that we can cross-reference, verify that it's you. And when you reply to that email, you're then going to get an invite into the private auction group. So we get that there's some complexity to this, and we apologize for that, but it's really the only way we know to keep the trolls from spoofing bids and messing up the outcome of the auction. We want to keep it fair. We want to give everybody a chance to gain access to the tools and to get that Mac Daddy Founders Lifetime License. And we don't want trolls coming in and just spoofing with crazy bids and messing it up for us, or you most in particular. How to bid. So we realized that because of the time zones all over the country, all over the world, we've got traders all over the world. The 11 o'clock hour Eastern time may not be convenient for you, or I don't know, maybe you have a life and you've got something else you need to do, work, family, whatever. So the first way to bid obviously is through our live auction. But if you can't attend the live auction, or if you prefer to bid privately, you may do so once your deposit is received. So we will include those instructions. You could place your bid early. It won't be posted until we actually start the auction. But I would say if you're going to place a bid early, you should send the funds with that bid to the same account you sent your deposit to, Brad, or does it go to a different place?
No, we'll set up a separate deposit for that.
Okay, and so we'll have a link and instructions for that as well if you choose to bid that way. Guessing there are some questions at this stage in the game. So send
We've
them.
got how many licenses to the auction and how many lifetime licenses are available?
Go for it, Brad.
So for Wednesday's auction, we're going to have one all in, get everything we ever do on the retail side of things license available. But there, as Keith said, will be additional opportunities to onboard and get get licenses for the tools. But we wanted to start off with this first one to really get a feel for even if this concept is going to work and how many people are willing to participate, all of that good stuff. So we will have other opportunities as well. And that was one of the questions that just came in. The only way to access the service is the auction. No, that won't necessarily be the only way to access the service, but it is the fastest way to access the service in the short term. So that's just in the short term. We'll be announcing some other opportunities as well.
Yes, one step at a time as we peel back the layers of the onion.
Yes,
Right?
absolutely. Absolutely.
What else?
Not having any other big questions coming in. Anybody else have questions you want to ask before we close it down? Essentially, the auction's going to be in a Telegram channel, and it's a great way for us to just keep track of the prices. We're going to do a live stream of the auction and keep track of the bids as they come in and put them on screen, as well as announce them. And as Keith said, if you're someone who's not comfortable with doing that, you can send it to us privately and we'll put your bid in for you.
All right. And for anybody in the Telegram community, if you guys have questions or you're not making it to the, they won't be
won't
hearing us.
know.
I'm just going to put a little note here in the Telegram community so that if anybody has questions for the AMA, we can field them. And-
Sean
ahead, Brad.
just asked, is the auction blind or can we see the top bid? The auction, you will be able to see all bids being placed. Let's see. Besides lifetime membership, when will the subscription service be up? You mean just general? I think he means just general commercial subscriptions.
Right.
That's going to happen over the next, safe to say, few weeks here, Keith.
Yeah, all things, if all things go according to plan, we're onboarding in batches, so that we can ensure that we are, that, all of our processes are working right. And that goes from our operations in terms of, onboarding, people and our, payment processes and, back end stuff, but also, for the performance of the indicators, right? That was our biggest thing, was that, we need to make sure that the infrastructure can handle the load. So we've done some simulations on load testing, and we feel pretty confident moving forward that we can onboard a good portion of those who have expressed an interest in doing so. But we know there's going to be limitations. So that's why we're going in stages, batches at a time. It's not going to be like a mass thing where everybody can come in at once. For the first probably month, and Fred, you can speak to this more on the tech side, we've got to do this in smaller groups.
Yeah, so as Keith said, the main reason for doing an auction is limitation on resources on our side. And by only taking on a few users who are committed to, help us grow this, we can scale our infrastructure and be able to take on more users in the future.
And that's what's key is we don't want to onboard 300 new users in one day and not be able to provide a valuable, fast service to them. And so it's really critical that we really be able to scale it for that. So,
Okay. A couple questions I harvested from the community. Will FireCharts support other exchanges besides Binance? Fred?
Yes. So over the next few months, I will be adding more data sources of all the major exchanges and put up all the order books and CVDs for those. but I'll also upgrade the way the data is collected, as previously mentioned. Instead of using REST APIs, we want to do everything over WebSockets. And there's going to be further tools, not just FireCharts, that I'm working on, that I hope to be releasing soon.
That Keith and I both want to get our hands on today.
Yeah. Another question, Fred. Does FireCharts include Binance futures?
Currently not, but I plan on adding it.
Okay. And I don't know of there may be other tools, but I don't know of others that are supporting DeFi coins the way that we are.
No. Sean asks, what are your expectations on price? Sean, we'll be disclosing that as we get ready to launch those. Unfortunately, I don't have a specific answer for you on that today, but we will start revealing subscription prices down the line. And we had a question, if I missed the auction, most likely, will I get priority for onboarding? Folks that pre-register with us that are members of our community will get priority for onboarding. Absolutely, we will be loyal to the community that's been so loyal to us.
And that also bodes the question, is there any advantage to being early on that list? And I would say the answer is yes, because if someone who registered prior to you passes on an opportunity, as like I said, we're onboarding in batches, and we're going to make offers in batches. If somebody signed up ahead of you that passes on the opportunity, we go down the list, and then you become next on the list. So yeah, there's an advantage to signing up early, registering early. For those of you who have done that, great job. For those of you who have not done so yet, I suggest you do that right now. Some comments waiting to hear about pricing needs to move along. Well, we will get to, as Brad mentioned, the retail model of pricing down the road. But as we have mentioned many times, and we've been transparent about this since the very, very beginning, we're a startup. We're bootstrapped. We need to raise money to scale and continue development at a scale and a pace that's going to make you guys happy and make us happy. And to do that, since we have a limited amount of space, a limited amount of spots that we can fill, we first need to fill those with those that are willing to put the most into it. So that would be those who have expressed an interest in lifetime licenses. And we did a survey, and wow, it was a great response we had to that the majority was interested in lifetime licenses. So that's why we're heading down this path. And to that note, I would say, when you see us post surveys and polls in the Telegram channel, comment on those, please, because your feedback really does make a difference. It really does. Your feedback and input is really what has gotten us to this point. And we're going to continue that way. We had someone ask us if once we start paid subscriptions, are we gonna nuke the existing Telegram community? And the answer to that is a resounding hell no. We love this community. We're going to keep it going. We're going to keep nurturing it, and we're going to keep growing together. This community is what got us here, and we're going the long haul with this group, and we welcome others to come join us.
We got a question. Can Fred give a teaser on any new things you're looking at?
So there are actually dozens of indicators that we still have in our pipeline that we weren't able to put up due to processing reasons. There's a lot of data, and there's a lot of data crunching, and we just didn't have the infrastructure to process all of this stuff in real time. But there's dozens of indicators that we've already shown in the group, especially volume at each price level. So it's actually CVD at each price level, as well as price or time spent at each price level, giving you similar information to the order book, but based on price action. And speaking of price action, there's actually also another major tool I'm planning to work on, which is automated fractal identification. so that basically you can automatically identify all the TA patterns on all time frames and see how those turned out historically and what chance there is, that it might go up or down at the moment.
You guys should know that, and Fred, I'm going to say this in the nicest possible way. Fred has a wicked case of scientist ADD. Everything he learns, everything he figures out leads to 5 more questions. And he continues to look for ways to test and validate theories and to gather more data and analyze the data and to gather more data and read it to understand what makes things happen, what moves the market, and why it's happening. So
and it's important to note that the kinds of questions that you and I come up with when we're using the tools or new versions of the tools, and the kinds of things that people in the community who are using the tools come up with spur a huge number of ideas across the board. And those ideas can include new indicators, include ways to use existing indicators. We've got a lot coming down the pipe.
A lot in the pipeline, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
Absolutely. Okay, a little praise because we're great. Awesome work, guys. More than happy to support. Look forward to launch. So we are too. We're excited. Thanks, man. Really appreciate you guys being here and being part of the community and help us get there. It's exciting.
And I want to stress, because I know that people might not be thrilled about the fact that, okay, if we're going to auction off this founder's lifetime license, that's probably, that may be a lot more money than some people are willing to pay or can afford at the moment. And that's totally understandable. This auction is for the people who are interested in that. But I want everyone else to know that it is in your best interest, if you have interest in getting early access to the tools, to join the auction and participate and place a bid, because you never know what might happen as we work our way through these things. As we look forward to the next opportunity and the next onboarding event, you never know if we're going to reference a prior group who was in the auction, or whether there may be another opportunity coming your way. So
we'll be analyzing as we go.
We will. That's right. We will be. Brad will be analyzing everything.
I want to reiterate one thing, and this is really important. The auction format is about this is like a Kickstarter event for us, right? The idea is to offer folks the ability to help fund this. And there's only one Fred. And Fred needs to focus on building indicators, but we need developers to help him. We need servers. We need systems. We need to be able to onboard more people. And we haven't even started advertising or marketing our tools. And we don't want to do that because we don't want to lessen the experience for the people who are using them every day. But that's really the goal of this entire process that we're going through, is to treat this like a crowdfunding campaign, because so many people have wanted to be a part of helping us build it and grow. And that's what the opportunity is.
And we haven't, like you said, we haven't offered this publicly yet because we want to give our community members first shot at filling the available spots on the infrastructure. And once the infrastructure is scaled and we can do that, then we will, open things up to, those who are not yet members of our community. If we can't post the charts on the Telegram group, will there be anywhere we can discuss charts? Yes, of course. So that was I guess, in reference to the fact that we said that we're going to stop doing the on-demand charts the way that we have been doing them recently after October 15th. We know that this is a valuable thing for the community, not just that we post all these charts through the day, but the discussion that happens around them. So through the day, and we're going to, we've discussed various formats and timeframes that we will do that. We obviously need to respect those that are paying for the tools, so that, that they still get the edge and advantage of having those tools at their fingertips. but we will through the day, or maybe during some given times during the day, post some static charts and have some commentary. Will you be able to order up every chart on demand 24/7 like you have in the past? No. Will we do it during certain specific blocks of the day? That's a more likely scenario.
Yeah, and look, we're going to have ideas and thoughts about a particular pair that we see, or a particular equity that we think is important to let everybody know about, or something that's happening in the market overall that we want to alert everybody about, and we're going to share those and open up for analysis. And as discussions occur in our community around particular pairs, that we think that the charts can bolster the point that's being made, or add another facet to that discussion, we're gonna bring those into the mix. So it's really important. We just have to figure out a balance between people that are paying for the access to the charts in the interface versus how much we want to help the members of the community trade and be successful as well. So we're going to be learning as we go. We have some ideas about how we want to do it, but we definitely don't want to disappoint the folks in the community.
We're not abandoning our community by any stretch of the imagination. We just need to, as Brad said, find the balance between making sure that we're not undercutting those who are paying for the product. Simple as that.
That's right.
And if you guys have ideas, listen, we have been transparent, and all of us are in the community every single day, or just about every day. So feel free to share ideas and ask questions there as well.
If I'm not helping with homeschooled Algebra 2, I'll be virtual school Algebra 2. I'll be available.
All right.
We had a question. How long will the auction run? Until the wallets are emptied. No, I'm kidding. No. We're going to cut it off after a reasonable amount of time. We haven't set a specific deadline on how long it'll run.
No, it's going to go until the bidding stops, right?
Like a typical auction will go. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's not going to be So here's the deal: for those who aren't going to make the auction, want to send in their bid, they're going to be able to do that. Brad, I'm assuming, will have that email out with the links, and they could do that once they secure their deposit.
Yep.
And so that will be in the next day or two.
Yep.
And then the live auction will occur starting at 11 a.m. On Wednesday until the bidding cools off.
Yep.
Simple as that. So if there's a frenzy and we have a lot of members in there bidding for it, it could go for a while. But I mean, it's certainly not going to go on for hours. It's I think it happens relatively quick.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great questions, though.
Yeah, excellent questions. I don't think we have anything more coming in. Guys, if you have any more questions, get them in. If you don't get them in here, you can get them in on the Material Indicators Telegram group. As always, we're happy to answer them. And if you're shy, you can private message one of us, and we'll be happy to help you out.
You know what? Let's centralize this so that we don't have messages scattered. If somebody has a question about deposit or the process, I say we send them to Brad.
That's fine. You guys can private message me at Brad Nickel. It's Nickel. And you can also post to the group if you need to.
Yeah, you can find us there for sure. All right. Anything else, guys? Any parting thoughts?
That's it for me, man. I'm excited. I'm really excited to start getting this great community on board.
Olmi just posted in the group chat. I'd like to know the process of the auction.
The process of the auction.
The actual auction itself? Yes.
Okay. I think we have a slide for that.
There's a slide for that.
There's a slide for that. Let me find that slide.
So
How
essentially,
it works.
Yeah. Oh, that's not it. So essentially the way it's going to work is you're going to submit your deposit. When you submit your deposit, after that, you'll see a web page asking you for your Telegram user ID. In that box, you put in your Telegram user ID, you submit it, and then we're going to send you a link to a private auction channel where the auction will occur in Telegram. When we get to Wednesday at 11 a.m., Eastern time, which is 3 p.m. UTC. We'll announce that the auction is starting. We'll be on a live stream at the same time. We'll announce it in that private Telegram group, and you'll be able to start placing your bids. We'll tell you kind of minimums. We'll tell you, what's going on as it's happening. And as a bid comes in, anybody that wants to top the next bidder will be able to bid. It's really quite simple, just like a standard eBay auction where one person puts in a bid and the next person can bid over that. We'll let you know the increments of the bids at the time of the auction.
Right.
And it's pretty clean and simple. And then when there's a high bidder and nobody else has outbid that person and nobody else is placing bids, we'll give you guys a warning, 3, 2, 1, this is going to be over, and that'll be the end of the auction.
Right. It's I believe proper auction protocol is going once, going twice, sold to the high bidder. You guys, only people registered for the auction that have made their deposits are going to be invited into that private auction channel. So you will see the bids rolling in the channel, and of course, if we have bids that are sent in prior, you'll see those as the high bid, and we will be talking through it on a stream just like this one, so that you'll have, you'll be able to hear us telling you what's going on and giving instructions, and prompting you to take action if necessary. So it's going to be, once you get in there, it's going to be pretty easy and self-explanatory. But we will be there walking you through it every step of the way. Saw a question come in again about what happens if I don't win. What happens if I don't win the auction? Well, your options again are going to be to apply your deposit to a special offer that could potentially be presented to you.
Yeah, I think their question is more about how they get the products if they don't win the auction.
Well, you'll learn more at the end of the auction.
Exactly. We'll be discussing that at the end of the auction, but there will be other opportunities.
Okay. Anything else, Fred?
Yeah, guys, if you have any technical questions that you want me to answer, I'm happy to. So if you have questions about, for example, fire charts, about how it works, if you want to see it live, please let me know.
Fred, next time we do one of these, can we get you in the lab with a lab coat and at least blow one thing up? It doesn't have to be a large explosion. I just want to see something. I want to see fire.
I'm afraid my professor wouldn't be too happy about that.
All right. Well, again, we very much appreciate our community. Let me just check one more time for any last comments or questions. What happens if I don't win? There's another process to get products. Yes, there will be. I have a hard time following the conversation. Sorry for my. No worries, Doc. We're going to send emails, and you can certainly private message us, and we can explain anything that you don't understand. Again, our community, you guys are of so much importance to us. We appreciate you. We're humbled by the support and the encouragement that you've given us. And we're looking forward to growing this company, launching and growing this company together.
That's right. Excellent.
All right.
Thanks, everybody.
Launch coming up.
Check your emails. Look for us in case we get pushed into your spam folder. Add materialindicators.com to your address book. We'll be sending the details out soon.
And if you haven't done so yet, pre-register for early access. You can do so at materialindicators.com. For Brad Nickel, Fred Schneider, my name's Keith Allen. We are really, really excited about this and really appreciative. We'll be chatting with you in the community, of course, and get things ramped up. Lots of work to still do to get things ramped up for launch day. The countdown continues. Let's do one last look at the countdown clock and see where we sit. Hold on a second. I got to share this screen. Oh, the anticipation is killing me.
Yeah, it's killing me.
Oh, just settle down. Settle down, Nickel.
Feeling a little analyzed.
All right, guys, there it is. The countdown clock is ticking. 3 days, 1 hour, 38 minutes, and 20 seconds. We are a go for launch.
Thanks, guys. Everybody have a great day or evening. Bye.